President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has traveled to London for a series of high-stakes diplomatic meetings with United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron, and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, as the path to ending the war remains obstructed by deep strategic disagreement. These emergency discussions come as European leaders attempt to revive proposals for a coalition of the willing peacekeeping force while drafting their own security framework after objecting to a peace plan supported by President Donald Trump that they fear favor Moscow. Negotiators in Kyiv have amended their proposals to a 20-point plan that demands specific guarantees regarding territorial control and the status of frozen Russian assets. Yet these core issues remain unresolved despite intensifying talks between American and Ukrainian officials. United States envoy Keith Kellogg recently stated that a peace deal is very close, but noted that final completion is being blocked by stubborn dispute over the governance of the Donbas region and the safety of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. The situation is further complicated by Denmark's sudden announcement to sharply reduce its military aid to Ukraine in 2026, cutting support from over 16 billion kroner to just over 9 billion, a decision that has triggered alarm in Kyiv and exposed widening political fractures within the European coalitions, just as the battlefield situations become critical. Diplomatic relations between the United States and its traditional European partners have plunged into turmoil following a leaked phone call in which President Emmanuel Macron warned that Washington might betray Ukraine during the ongoing peace negotiations. This revelation causes a storm across the continent and was quickly weaponized by Russian officials, with Dmitry Medvedev mocking the French leader and issuing a veiled threats to send Russian submarines to the coast of France. The leak has deepened European suspicion about the secret talks taking place in Miami between American and Ukrainian representatives, while United States officials backed by the Trump administrations are pushing for a roadmap that Kyiv views as forcing territorial surrender. While European allies were caught off guard by the strategy emerging from Washington, the divide was widened by Donald Trump Jr., who declared at the Doha Forum that the American public has no appetite for writing blank checks to Ukraine. In a series of interviews, he criticized European leaders for worshipping Zelenskyy while their own economies suffer from inflation and security failures, signaling that the era of automatic American funding is officially over. The ideological rift between the new administration in Washington and the European Union was on full display at the Doha Forum, where EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas attempted to brush off the dire warning contained in President Trump's newly unveiled national security strategy. The document explicitly accused the European Union of stifling political liberty and warns of civilizational erasure caused by unchecked migrations, a stance that Kallas rejected while insisting that the transatlantic bond must remain unbreakable despite these policy clashes. However, internal divisions within Europe are hindering its ability to act independently, as plans to unlock 165 billion euros in frozen Russian assets for Ukraine remain stalled due to vetoes from Hungary and hesitation from Belgium. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban added to the tension by accusing the European Union of corruption and warning that sanctions on Russia are endangering families across the continent. Orban argued that Europe is drifting into a permanent war economy and urged a return to national sovereignty, positioning himself as a key ally of the nationalist vision promoted by the Trump White House, while the rest of the bloc struggles to maintain a unified front. In the Middle East, the geopolitical landscape is shifting rapidly as German Chancellor Friedrich Merz visited Jerusalem for his first official trip since taking office, where he clashes with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu over the future of Gaza. During a solemn visit to the Yad Vashem Holocaust Memorial, Merz emphasized Germany's lasting historical responsibility to defend Israel's existence, but firmly refused to recognize a Palestinian state, a stance that angered activists back in Berlin. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Netanyahu revealed that The second phase of Israel's peace and security plan is approaching, involving the disarmament of Hamas and the establishment of a transitional authority. However, violence continues to escalate on the ground, with fresh Israeli airstrikes hitting northern Gaza and the Rafah crossing remaining closed. At the Doha Forum, officials from Qatar and Turkey issue stark warning that the region is at a critical moment, arguing that the current truth is merely a temporary pause and that Israel's delay in withdrawing from Palestinian territory could lead to a wider explosion of conflict involving neighboring states. Domestic unrest is spreading across Germany as the government attempts to align its military policies with the rising pressure from NATO and the escalating global threats. Thousands of protesters march through the Neukölln district of Berlin to condemn German arms delivery to Israel, chanting slogans against war and occupation while demanding an immediate end to military support for the Netanyahu administration. These demonstrations coincide with a massive public backlash against Chancellor Merz's controversial push to reintroduce military conscription. Furious crowds have taken to the street nationwide with banners declaring that they will not be used as cannon fodder, accusing the government of using war hysteria to force through policies that the public never agreed to. The intensity of these protests signals that the plan to remilitarize German society has ignited one of the most explosive domestic showdowns the country has seen in years, complicating Berlin's ability to project strength on the international stage. Across the Atlantic, the United States government has launched a new wave of aggressive immigration enforcement operations under the direction of Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. Federal agents initiated operations Catahoula Crunch, New Orleans, a major sweep aimed at arresting thousands of individuals labeled as high-priority targets. Homeland Security teams executed their first raid at a shipyard detaining undocumented immigrants with criminal histories, a move that Secretary Noem defended as essential to restoring laws and order. In response to these escalating tactics, community groups and legal advocates in New York City have organized urgent training sessions to prepare residents for door-knock operations and surprise enforcement sweeps. Organizers are teaching immigrants how to document potential abuses and assert their legal rights, creating a network of rapid response coordinations to protect their communities. This domestic crackdown has heightened anxieties across American cities as immigrant populations brace for a sustained period of uncertainty and intimidation under the new administration's strict enforcement policy. If you have made it this far, congratulations, you have unlocked the truth. I want to ask you a quick question though. We are witnessing a historic fracture in the transatlantic alliance, highlighted by the leaked warning from Macron and the sharp aid cuts from Denmark, as the Trump administration signals that the era of blank check is over and demands Europe defend itself. Germany is already facing massive domestic unrest over conscription. In this new era of America first, do you think Europe is actually capable of uniting to stop Russian expansion on its own? Or will the withdrawal of American support inevitably lead to the collapse of Ukraine and a total reshaping of the European security map? And why? Join the debate. We want to hear your insightful opinion on where this is all heading in our community. Share your thoughts in the comments below. I appreciate your support. Thank you for being a part of this journey. Like the video, share this video with friends and family, hit the notification bell, and most importantly, subscribe. See you guys in the next one.